Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Now today I've got the matchday 11 predictions for you to go through. All 12 fixtures will be played on Saturday, starting off with Swansea versus Hull and ending with Middlesbrough versus Rotherham. But let's get straight into it. As I'm sure quite a few of you will still be able to tell, I am still absolutely buzzing after the win against West Brom. But let's get into these results and yeah, let's do it. And so starting off, as I said earlier, we've got Swansea going up against Hull. And I think this one may be for Swansea to take the 3 points in. Hull currently on a 3-match losing run. And I don't see them picking up anything against the Swansea side, who currently haven't been at their best. They've had games where they have looked good, but they're currently sitting in 22nd and in the relegation zone. And we know that Swansea can do a lot better than what they've been doing. And I mean, the match against Stoke where they drew 1-1, I think it was in that game, I didn't think they looked particularly brilliant in that one. But I think against a Hull side who are struggling for form recently, and they have played some tough sides, so you can't blame them, to be honest. But I think in this one, I think Swansea will win, and I'm going to go 2-0 to Swansea. And so at the DW Stadium, we've got Wigan Athletic going up against Reading. And both sides haven't been too bad recently. Reading last time out did lose 3-0 to Sunderland, and it wasn't a great game for them. But before that, they weren't doing too badly. Obviously, we know how good Reading have been this season. You know, forgetting the 4-0 loss to Rotherham, they have actually looked a really good side and a solid side, and one which, luckily for Birmingham, we aren't playing them for a little while, so hopefully by then they'll drop in form a little bit for us to hopefully get some points in that one. But I think at the moment, I wouldn't want to be playing against Reading. All credit to Sunderland for getting a 3-0 win over them in that game. But I think for Wigan, I think it will be a tough game, but let's not forget they've been a good team so far this season as well, currently sitting in 11th place. As for this one, I'm really not sure. I know that I've said about Reading being a really good side, but I think maybe just the 3-0 defeat will just lower the confidence a little bit. And I think Wigan being the home side, maybe a bit of home advantage. I'm not sure. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. And so then at Turf Moor, we have got Burnley going up against Bristol City. And I'll be honest with you, I think Bristol City may get 3 points in this one. Burnley, they're currently sitting in 5th place, but overall, so far this season, I don't think that they've looked absolutely impressive. Obviously, coming down from the Premier League and losing a lot of their star players, they're not going to be the Burnley which will go straight back up. It may take time. As for Bristol City, 3-2 loss against Norwich, but you know, I mean, to score 2 goals against Norwich, you know, not many teams will do that this season. And so I think there is positivity there. The way which they conceded may be a little bit disappointing, but Norwich are a good side attacking and defensively. And so for Bristol City to score 2 goals in that one is good for them. And I think it will be a rememberable away day for Bristol City fans. I think they'll go back on track to get a win. And I'm going to go 3-1 to Bristol City. Well, to a big match in Huddersfield, where Huddersfield Town take on Cardiff City. Huddersfield, Danny Schofield was sacked on Tuesday night or Wednesday morning after the 2-1 defeat to Wigan Athletic. And now, at the moment, it's going to be Narcis Pelach, I hope I've said his name correctly, who will be managing Huddersfield. I'm not sure whether that's temporary or whether it's going to be permanent, but I think Huddersfield, they need to get in a more experienced manager than Danny Schofield. You know, he was working with Carlos Corberán during his time there, and you would have thought maybe he picked up a few skills from his time with Carlos Corberán, but unfortunately it just didn't work out for him, and he got sacked the other day. But going up against Cardiff, I do think they'll put in a good shift. And I do think that they will put a lot of pressure on Cardiff. But I think it will just be one of those games where Huddersfield lose again. I'm going to go 1-0 to Cardiff. And so at Kenilworth Road, we have got Luton Town going up against Blackburn Rovers. And I want to talk about Blackburn to start with. After 2-0 win to Watford, Ryan Hedges and Dominic Hyam with an absolute brilliant scorpion kick from a corner. And I haven't really ever seen a goal like that. I mean, absolute brilliant technique, and you know, it's one of those shots where it's one of those scorpion kicks where, you know, it's usually not going to work out, but for him it did. And so fair play, and the positivity which Blackburn showed in that game, that didn't allow Watford to bully them, and eventually they scored 2 goals against them, keeping a clean sheet in the game as well. Against Luton Town, who drew 2-2 with Coventry, and there's no way that you're going to stop Gustavo Hamer's shot, is it, from outside the box. A really nice shot, and that grabs Coventry a point. But Luton, they do need to get back on track. I think playoffs may be out the window for them, but you never say never. But currently Luton aren't looking too good for them. But there's still a lot of the season to go, and I don't want to sound too negative. But in this one, I am going to go with Blackburn Rovers to get a win here. I think it will be tight, but I think it will be 2-1 to Blackburn. And so over to St Andrews, where my team Birmingham take on Coventry City. Do we class this as a local derby? If Coventry were still at St Andrews, then yeah, it'd be a bit more intense. But I do think that we do class it as a derby, although, yeah, I'm not sure whether it actually counts as a derby. But I class it as a derby anyway. Whatever you guys have an opinion on, do let me know. Either when, you know, the vlog comes out from me, let me know whether you think it's a derby or not, or whether comments are allowed on this video, which they either will be or not. I don't really know what YouTube do with them turning off comments. But anyway, getting into this match, Birmingham versus Coventry. Blues beating West Brom last night. Absolute incredible win against a West Brom side who, defensively, I mean, Bartley, he was very poor, being at mistake for at least 2 of the goals that Birmingham scored. I mean, I won't complain, but yeah, Birmingham playing really well against West Brom, and I do think deserved 3 points in that one against a Coventry side who are currently yet to win, albeit they have had 3 of their games postponed due to, you know, their pitch being not playable. And so I think against Coventry, I do fear that we will lose in this one, because you do have to think Coventry will start to win at some point, and, you know, against Birmingham I do think they could do it. But I want to be positive. You know, we've won 2 games in a row, and so in this one I'm going to go 2-1 to Birmingham, but I'm really not sure. And so we go over to the Den in London for Millwall taking on Blackpool. And I think this one will be quite an even match. Millwall losing 2-0 to QPR. Yeah, not what they would have wanted against their London rivals. But I think for them, the issue is that defensively they're probably not there yet. You know, they do have spells of where they do look good defensively, but then against QPR, I mean, for that corner where Stefan Johansson scored, that was really poorly defended. I don't know what was going on with Millwall actually in that play, and if you watch it you'll understand what I mean. As for Blackpool, they're a little bit of an odd side to predict. You know, they'll either do well or they'll do very poorly. But I think in this one, I think I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go 0-0. And so at Deepdale, we have got Preston North End taking on Sheffield United. League leaders, Sheffield United, after beating Swansea in added time on Tuesday night. I think, look, I do have thoughts in the back of my head of Sheffield United will drop points at some point, and I predicted them to lose against Swansea with those thoughts being in the back of my head. But I don't want to sound too negative for Sheffield United. You know, I think I underestimated them a bit against Swansea, and I can't see them losing against Preston. I think they will get all 3 points against the Preston side who have now conceded 2 goals, one against Birmingham, one against Burnley, and I think they'll concede 2 against Sheffield United. Preston, they are a good side. Do they have a goal scorer who will go on and score a lot of goals for them? I'm not too sure. I think that will be a bit where they lack this season. We've seen it already so far. But in this one, I'm going to go 2-0 to Sheffield United. And so now we're going to talk about two teams who had two really good, convincing wins in midweek. We've got QPR taking on Stoke City. QPR against Millwall, they looked like they wanted goals, looked like they wanted to win the derby a bit more than Millwall did, that's for sure. And in the end they go and win 2-0 at the Den, which is a tough place to go. Against a Stoke side who managed to beat Hull City in midweek, Lewis Baker getting a deflected free kick goal which set up a run of 3 goals going on, with that being the first goal. Stoke, when they played Hull, they did look good, and attacking they did look threatening, and in the end were the better team by far. QPR against Millwall, had their tactics sorted out really nicely, and it did work out for them. And so this one's a really tough one to call. I think I'm just going to go 1-0 to Stoke. I think Stoke will just put a little bit more pressure on QPR, and I do think they will win the game. And so at Vicarage Road, we have got Watford taking on Sunderland. Watford losing 2-0 to Blackburn. It's not going to do them any good, is it? Look, you got to feel for Watford fans who made the journey up to Blackburn to watch the match. It wasn't a good performance by them. They did have chances, but none which really stood out. And in the end come away with no points in that one. Against the Sunderland side who beat Reading 3-0. And brilliant third goal, wasn't it, by Sunderland. But in this one, I think I might see Sunderland getting a win in this one. And another away win for Sunderland. And I think in this one, I'm going to go 2-1 to Sunderland. I think they will surprise a few Watford fans. And so at Carrow Road, we've got Norwich City taking on West Bromwich Albion. And I don't want to sound too negative for West Brom, but against Birmingham, defensively, they were absolutely shocking. Carl Bartley, what was he doing in that game? Will he be starting in this one? If I'm being honest, I don't think he should start. He made 2 errors against Birmingham. One which, he probably couldn't control, where Troy Deeney played the through ball to Janini Bakuna to set up the second goal. He couldn't really stretch his leg any further. But the ball did just go past him in that one. And then for Blues' third goal, he was very much to blame, as he didn't pressure Scott Hogan and tried to block off the pass for Tahith Chong so Hogan could just run through and score. So if I'm Steve Bruce, I think take off Carl Bartley and maybe try and put on some more attackers, because defensively, I don't think West Brom have much hope. But I think for Norwich, I think it's a really bad time to be playing against Norwich for West Brom. Norwich on a really good run of form, beating Bristol City 3-2 last time out. And I don't want to be funny, but I do think West Brom will be thrashed in this one. I'm going to go 4-1 to Norwich. So the final game to talk about, we have got Middlesbrough taking on Rotherham. Middlesbrough, I was a little bit disappointed in them, to be honest. I thought that, after the win against Sunderland, I did feel that maybe they could go and build on from that win. But last game, they didn't manage to do that and eventually lost the game. And they won't be in a relegation fight by the end of the season. I think you can guarantee that. I think it will take time for the team to build and improve, but I think at the moment it's just not going to be too good for Middlesbrough fans against a Rotherham side who aren't looking too bad, managing to beat Blackpool 3-0 in midweek, and 3 really good goals by Rotherham. And I think in this one, I think it will be a win for Rotherham. I'm going to go 2-0 to Rotherham. And so there we go, match day 11 predictions are now completed. Few interesting fixtures in this one. I think Norwich versus West Brom, that'll be a very interesting one. Will Steve Bruce get the sack after that one? West Brom fans were singing sacked in the morning to him yesterday when they lost 3-2 to Birmingham City. Another interesting one, Huddersfield versus Cardiff. Huddersfield need to start getting points now that Danny Schofield's gone. But as I said, I do think Cardiff will just about win that one 1-0. But it's a really exciting match day to come up. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Coventry vlog will obviously come out at the weekend on Saturday night. Hopefully we can win in that one. But until then, thank you all very much for watching and keep right on everyone.